You know, we all love seeing those beautiful wild birds in our parks and backyards. But behind all those songs and flashes of color, there's this hidden world of, well, constant struggle and survival. Today, we're going to dive into the harsh realities they face every single day. So, let me ask you something. When you picture a predator hunting a small bird, what's the first image that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably something pretty familiar, right? Like a neighborhood cat or maybe a really clever crow. And yeah, you wouldn't be wrong. But those usual suspects, they're really just the first chapter of the story. The full picture of the threats these birds have to navigate is so much more intricate and honestly, pretty surprising. It involves this delicate balance that, believe it or not, we're all a part of. So let's start pulling back that curtain. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get into the hidden, harsh reality of their daily lives. Then, we're going to look at the threats lurking on the ground, and then the terror that comes from the sky. After that, we'll uncover an unseen and maybe the biggest enemy of all. And we'll wrap it all up by talking about the balance of nature and, well, where we fit into all of this. All right, let's start with that hidden reality. It is so easy to look out the window and see birds as these little symbols of peace and freedom. But that picture we have in our heads, it hides a life that is just a nonstop battle to survive. Seriously, what looks to us like a peaceful moment, a bird hopping on the lawn or singing from a tree, that's just a tiny pause in a life of constant, high-stakes watchfulness. For them, survival is a full-time job, and the dangers are coming from literally every direction. Okay, so let's dig into that first circle of threats, the dangers that hunt from the ground. These are some of the predators we're most familiar with, and as it turns out, they're also some of the most effective. And yeah, the number one spot, it goes to an animal many of us actually share our homes with, the cat. It's a fact that globally, domestic and feral cats are considered the single greatest direct threat to wild birds. Their hunting instinct is just off the charts, and their agility makes them unbelievably effective hunters. And this is such a crucial way to look at it. On the one hand, you've got the cat's instinct. Hunting is just what they do. It's hardwired. We can't blame a cat for being a cat. But on the other hand, that brings up our responsibility. It's really up to us, as pet owners and as a community, to figure out how to manage that instinct to protect the wildlife around us. And the good news is there are some really simple, effective things we can do. The biggest one? Keeping cats indoors, especially around dawn and dusk when birds are most active. A collar with a bell or something brightly colored can also give birds a fighting chance. And honestly, a well-fed and entertained indoor cat is a happy cat and a much safer neighbor for the local birds. Of course, cats aren't the only threat on the ground. You've also got nocturnal mammals like foxes and tanuki, you might know them as raccoon dogs, and they specialize in something that's just devastating. They're experts at raiding nests that are built on or near the ground, usually under the cover of darkness, to get to the vulnerable eggs and chicks inside. But the danger doesn't just come from below. Nope. For a small bird, sometimes the most terrifying place to be is the open sky. So now let's look up at the terror from above. So, meet the raptors. We're talking hawks, eagles, falcons. These guys are the masters of the aerial ambush. They can spot their prey from incredible heights, and then they just dive with this breathtaking speed and pinpoint precision. A bird that looks totally safe 1 second can be gone in the blink of an eye. It means even a moment of not paying attention could be fatal. But it's not all about speed and power from the air. There's another kind of threat: intelligence. Corvids, think crows and magpies, are brilliant. They are amazing observers and are incredibly good at finding other birds' nests. They then do something called nest robbery, which is exactly what it sounds like. They steal and eat eggs and hatchlings for a quick, protein-packed meal. And this brings us to a really important point. It's so easy to paint these predators as the bad guys, right? But they're not. They are an absolutely vital part of keeping things in balance, preventing any one species from overpopulating, and making sure the whole ecosystem stays healthy. So, we've talked about natural predators, which are all part of a system that works. But now, we have to turn to the biggest threat of all, one that throws that entire system out of balance. This is the predator that's often invisible, but has the most profound, far-reaching impact. Because really, when you get right down to it, beyond any single cat or hawk, the most massive dangers to bird populations all over the world are the huge environmental changes caused by us, by human activity. These aren't threats that hunt one bird at a time. They undermine the survival of entire species. And this really breaks down into three big pressures. First up, habitat destruction. Every time we build new developments or expand farmland, we're taking away the exact places birds need to eat, to nest, to live. Then there's pesticide use. These chemicals can poison birds outright, but they also wipe out the insects that so many birds rely on for food. And finally, climate change, which messes with everything from their migration patterns to their breeding cycles. So, knowing all of this, our last section here is all about, well, reframing how we look at nature and trying to understand our place in it. This takes us right back to that essential idea we touched on earlier. Predators are not the enemy. Just like this quote says, they're a fundamental gear in the complex machine of the ecosystem. They're what keeps it all running, keeps it all in balance. And that web is just so delicate. Think about it. If you remove one piece, say a top predator, the whole structure can start to get shaky. The prey species might explode in population, eat all their food, and then their population crashes. It just goes to show that every single piece has a purpose. Which, of course, leads us to the most important question of all. Faced with this incredibly complex picture, what can we as individuals actually do to help? Well, the answer really is in small, thoughtful actions. When it's nesting season, just give the birds their space. Watch from a distance. If you've got a bird feeder, make sure to keep it clean so diseases don't spread. You can support organizations that work to protect habitats. And maybe the most important thing, just be a curious, respectful observer of the amazing natural world that's right outside your door. So, I'll leave you with this. The next time you see a bird, look a little closer. Don't just see the beautiful colors. Try to imagine the incredible story of survival that it's living out every single day. What challenges is it facing? What dangers is it avoiding? What kind of story are the birds around you living?